second and final summer academy for the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Program. Since NASA Langley is closed for programs this summer because of the pandemic, we're very pleased that we have been able to offer the VEST Summer Academy as a virtual experience with the wonderful support of Old Dominion University's Office of Distance Learning and the great resourcefulness of our VSGC staff. We have a number of special guests with us today, and I would like to recognize them at this time. From the U.S. House of Representatives, we have Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton, representing Virginia's 10th Congressional District, and Congressman Don Beyer, representing Virginia's 8th Congressional District. Both will be speaking later in the program, and I'll be more formally introducing them at that time. From the Office of the Governor, we have Secretary of Education Atif Carney, who will be offering remarks later in the program, and Senator Ghazala Hashmi, representing Virginia's 10th District, is joining us today. Senator Hashmi and her family have been engaged with VSGC programs, and she's been a great supporter. I also want to welcome Delegate Mark Sickles of Virginia's 43rd District, who's joining us as well. And thank you, Delegate Sickles, for your support. And I'll be introducing Delegate Glenn Davis of Virginia's 84th District a bit later when he is giving remarks. So from NASA Langley, we have my co-host for today's ceremony, Dave Young, the center's Deputy Director, and he will be speaking later in the program. Rosemary Bays, Deputy Director of the Science Directorate, and the Science Directorate partners with us to offer the VEST program, and Rosemary has been engaged with our scholars this week as a speaker and a mentor. Jill Prince is joining us today as the Deputy Director of the Research Directorate at NASA Langley, and she also serves on our Advisory Council. Donna Lawson, Legislative Affairs Officer, and her Legislative Affairs intern, Cameron Lockery, are with us. Cameron is a past VSGC program participant in our Virginia Aerospace Science and Technology Scholars Program. From industry, we have Doug Stanley, President and Executive Director of the National Institute of Aerospace and a contributor to the VEST program. Bob Lovett, Vice President of Business Development and Cyber Operations for Universal Solutions, Inc. is with us today. Bob is a partner with us in our Army Research Lab effort. And Laura Blumberg, Senior Program Director at SAIC and President of the Virginia Aerospace Business Association, is joining us today. And the Virginia Aerospace Business Association is a contributor to the VEST program. From academia, we have Austin Ago, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Old Dominion University. Chris Rarig, Vice President for Student Affairs at Thomas Nelson Community College, and our partner for offering dual enrollment college credit for our scholars. They really make it possible for us to make that happen in an affordable way that we can cover here at Space Grant. We also have with us Khan, and I'm going to make sure I get your name right, Khan. Just a moment. Iftek Harudin, Professor and Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Students in Old Dominion University's Batten College of Engineering and Technology. And Khan also serves on our Advisory Council. And also Bill Moore has joined us. Bill is Professor in the Department of Atmospheric and Planetary Sciences at Hampton University. Bill has been a mentor and major contributor to the VEST program since its inception. So we're honored to have all of you with us today. The Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Program has taken our scholars through an in-depth learning experience based on the awe-inspiring work of NASA. 39 students are participating in the second summer academy. Our scholars first undertook an online course from December to May to learn about Earth as a system of systems. Their performance in the course earned them a slot at this week's academy, where they worked with NASA academic and industry mentors to plan missions to study critical issues identified by the National Academy in its decadal survey. You'll be hearing later from the scholars about the Summer Academy component and the missions they have designed and defended to professionals and a mission review panel this week. Students are receiving 5 college credits for their participation in the program. Primary funding to support the program comes from the Commonwealth of Virginia with significant in-kind support from NASA Langley and contributions from the Virginia Aerospace Business Association, the National Institute of Aerospace, and the Society of American Military Engineers. The program is now in its 6th year, and we partner with the NASA Langley Science Mission Directorate on this project. I can't say enough about the NASA academic and industry mentors who so generously donate their time to work with our scholars, including faculty from Hampton University. Scholars also greatly benefit from engaging with our master teachers and the help of our student interns, who are typically former VEST scholars. They will be recognized later in the program. The Virginia Space Grant Consortium is committed to enhancing STEM teaching and learning and to encouraging students to pursue studies and careers in these fields. We believe that real-world applied learning experiences like the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Program offer the very best kind of learning. And through the program, the students have been exposed to a wide range of STEM careers while interacting with NASA's highly motivated personnel. We're committed to engaging students from throughout the Commonwealth, and we're really able to reach throughout the Commonwealth, including students in areas that generally do not have access to these kinds of programs. That is one of the reasons why participation costs are covered for VEST and for all of our programs. We'll be tracking our scholars over the next few years to learn about their career choices and their college plans as well, and to offer information on future opportunities through NASA and the Virginia Space Grant Consortium. The VEST experience will also open doors for these students to participate in other NASA and consortium programs. If scholars will be seniors next year, they may wish to participate in our similarly modeled Virginia Aerospace Science and Technology Scholars Program, or our Pathways Flight Academies, which provide flight training for students who want to pursue a career as a pilot. As you move into college, Virginia Space Grant Consortium offers scholarships, fellowships, internships, student flight and design projects, all of which would likely be of interest to you. We can help you with your next steps here in Virginia. And if you go to a college in another state, we can connect you to the space grant program in that state so you can learn about their offerings. The success of VEST is truly a team effort, and I would like to recognize my staff for their outstanding work and ask them to please turn on their cameras as I introduce them. Rudo Kashiri is our education programs manager who oversees this program and does a wonderful job for us. Joyce Career is the VEST program coordinator and the key person in really making it happen on a day-to-day basis. Priscilla Hill provides all of the administrative and logistical support for this program, which is considerable, especially with virtual where everything had to be mailed and taken care of in advance. I also want to thank Ian Cawthray, our program specialist, for the great job that he does in supporting this program, and Ryan Carter, our media specialist, who has been documenting the scholars' experience this week, and you'll be seeing the fruits of his labors a bit later in the program. We are honored to have Congresswoman Wexton join us today. I had the honor of serving with Congresswoman Wexton on the Virginia Governor's Aerospace Advisory Council when she was a state senator. She's been a great supporter of the Virginia Space Grant Consortium and the National Space Grant Program as well. Congresswoman Wexton serves on the Appropriations Committee of the U.S. House of Representatives. We are so glad that she could join us today.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's wonderful to be here with everybody today. I love these kinds of ceremonies and hearing all about the wonderful projects that you guys have come up with in this wonderful program. I'm Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton. I represent Virginia's 10th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. I want to start by saying congratulations on completing the online course and the Summer Academy session. As I said, I love hearing about the incredible ways that you've put what you learned to use during this summer session to tackle a real-life science challenge facing our country today. I'm so proud of the work that you've accomplished and that you've made this choice to learn more about the world of science and space. It's a rapidly growing field that is absolutely crucial to the future of our country and the world over the next generation and beyond. This summer session gave you an opportunity to dive headfirst into just one key science issue. But the skills that you've put to work during this course will benefit you for years to come and help you be a part of solving so many of the great challenges facing our country and our planet today, from pandemics to climate change to space exploration and so much more. Because we're counting on young people like you to help us tackle these big issues. And to do that, we need to give you the tools and resources you need to drive American scientific discovery into the future. That's why I'm always so excited by the opportunity to speak with groups like this. The VEST is doing incredible work to enrich the learning experience of students across our Commonwealth and help create a pathway for passionate students like you to enter careers in science and tech. We need to make more opportunities available for all students across the country who want to get engaged with these issues. That's something I'm working on hard here in Congress, including getting greater resources to Virginia's Space Grant Program and other programs that are similar across the country. I'll continue supporting the work of programs like this because I believe that work to get young people engaged in science is essential to driving progress and making the U.S. a global leader in scientific discovery. Seeing the work that you all have been up to these past few months, I'm more confident than ever in the value of programs like VEST. Once again, congratulations on all of your wonderful work in the program. I am so proud of your achievements and look forward to hearing about how you put the skills you learned to work in the future. Thanks so much.
So honored to have Congressman Don Beyer with us today. In the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressman Beyer serves on the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology and chairs the House Space and Aeronautics Subcommittee, which oversees NASA's budget. Congressman Beyer is also the former Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Congressman, your support of VSGC and STEM education and of NASA is greatly appreciated, as is your making time to be with our scholars today.
Mary, thank you very much. It's the highlight of my day to be with the scholars. I just wish I could be with you in person, but I get to be with Congresswoman Wexton in person all the time, and that is a great thrill. She's one of the very best members of Congress, as she was in the Virginia Senate, and also to be with our Secretary of Education, Atif Carney, another wonderful Virginia leader. So today marks the end of your awesome program, and to see the work that you've produced. Mary mentioned that I'm part of the House Science and Space and Technology Committee. I'm one of the few science nerds on the committee, along with Congresswoman Wexton. And it's just so much fun to be chair of the Space Subcommittee and deep dives everywhere. And there's no more important time for me addressing the existential challenge of our lifetimes, of our century, and that's climate change. You know, in years past, we've had to fight some people on the committee who didn't want to spend as much NASA time and money on Earth science. I love quoting former chief scientist at NASA, Ellen Stofan, who now runs the Air and Space Museum for Smithsonian. She said, you know, it's really important to study planets, especially the one that we live on, the most important planet of all. And when studying the Earth, space is the ultimate vantage point. When we first learned about climate change from space, from NASA, NASA's fleet of space-based science observations and measurements, this gives us the long-term research data that shows the scientific signals of climate change. So in the midst of all the economic, health, and environmental impacts from climate change, it's clear we have an urgent mission before us. And I'm so glad that the Virginia Space Grant Consortium is putting your young minds to work to help us solve these pressing issues. These are the most exciting times. I'm so glad you're in this young. We're going to launch the James Webb Space Telescope later this year out of French Guiana. This is going to take the Hubble telescope, which has taught us so much, and multiply it by 1,000. We're going to be able to see back to the very first seconds after the Big Bang or inflation or whatever created the universe we're in. In 2 years, we're going to launch the Nancy Grace Roman telescope, which will be, again, probably the #1 goal of the National Academy of Sciences. They just announced recently that we're going to have the Da Vinci probe, which is going to go into the atmosphere of Venus and understand that. And then the Veritas probe, which is going to go to Venus and look at its geological history. So we don't know what dark energy is. We don't know what dark matter is, but we're going to be able to get much closer. I just finished a wonderful book called First Light by a British woman astrophysicist. She's actually a paleoastronomer. She's looking at the oldest stars, the generation 3 stars that don't exist anymore. So they're just looking for the fossils part of it. These are the stars that have no metals in them, because all the metals in the universe are the result of the explosions of the first and second generation stars. And then, in case you haven't been paying attention, there's Artemis 1, which will send a rocket to the moon and back, and Artemis 2 with astronauts, men, women, black, white, and everything else, and back. And then Artemis 3, where we'll actually land on the moon. And then 2033, Mars. This is a great time to study and contribute to space science. That's why I've been, for enthusiastic support for the NASA Space Grant Program for many years. It's in all 50 states and the US territories, but I think it's among the best, the Virginia Space Grant Program. Maybe because we have Langley and we're close to Goddard and we have Wallops. You may be interested that when Congresswoman Wexton and I met with the leaders from NASA, they said their number one infrastructure need in the country, in the world, was the bridge to Wallops Island in Virginia. So we're going to try to get that paid for in the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure will continue to be clear in the student presentations later in the ceremony that the research projects you've done have really helped prepare you for an exciting STEM careers. By the way, if you're ever anxious about a job, you get a great STEM education, math, computer science, systems analysis, biology, physics. I can guarantee you will never be unemployed. And then if you want to go to work for NASA, very cool. The Partnership for Public Service ranks every federal government agency every year in terms of how happy their employees are. For the 9th year in a row, NASA was listed the best place to work in the federal government by its own employees. So think about that. It's nothing better than to get up every morning and go to work in a place where you're happy and fulfilled and surrounded by people who also love their jobs. So go to college and then come right back to work for NASA. They'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. And thank you for inviting me to be part of your ceremony this morning. I look forward to seeing your work. And Mary, as we say on Capitol Hill, I yield back to you.
Hey, thank you, Congressman Beyer, very much for your remarks. It's now my pleasure to introduce my co-host for this ceremony, Dave Young, Deputy Director of NASA Langley Research Center, a former director for the Science Directorate, and he's been a great partner in offering the VEST program since its inception. So Dave, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. Hello, I'm Dave Young. I am the Deputy Director here at NASA Langley's Research Center. And on behalf of our Director, Clayton Turner, and everyone at Langley, I'd just like to say thank you for participating in today's event. And to our special guests, we really appreciate you all tuning in today. And Congressman Beyer, we couldn't ask for a better advertisement for all the great work that we do here at NASA, the great support that you give, and Congresswoman Wexton, thank you so much for your support and your inspiring remarks today. And in particular, I really appreciate your steadfast backing of climate science research. It's so important. The work that we do is helping to inform our nation, and it's hugely important, and your support is crucial. Thank you. So as you heard, VEST is a longstanding successful partnership between the Virginia Space Grant Consortium, NASA, industry, universities, and our elected officials. And it's all focused on growing that future STEM workforce. I also want to recognize one other group that's really important for making this work, and that's all the family and friends of our scholars today, because it's your encouragement, your support that's helping push them forward to become important parts of America's workforce going forward. So thanks to everyone for making this happen. Without your support, VEST would not be this robust program that we've seen through the years. So today, we've come together to recognize and applaud some pretty impressive achievements. So VEST scholars, congratulations on a really busy and successful week of scientific investigation. At NASA, we continue to grow our ability to understand our home planet, Earth, with what we call the Earth System Observatory. And this week, you've had a chance to take a look at the Earth as this interconnected system of systems. And you worked on teams to design interrelated Earth observation satellites studying the atmosphere, the biosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. And you could see how that's all interconnected in this great Earth system. You also learned about how NASA works closely with industry and academic partners. We have teams that not only include engineers and technologists and scientists, but also all the other parts, all the other diverse skills that we need to, to really achieve our great mission. We need budget experts, we need planners, we need communicators to all come together for success. And I hope you found all that rewarding and eye-opening. And by all accounts, I hear you've done a great job meeting the challenge. So, as the scholars have come to know, Langley has a rich history of innovation in human exploration, in science, aeronautics, and space technology. And today, as we're looking towards our future, we're doing that with the same sense of excitement and energy that animated the work of legends such as Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. And I hear that you all got to meet Christine Darden, who was an inspiration to all of us. I actually had the opportunity to work with Christine while she was still at NASA. So that's fantastic that you had the opportunity to meet her. But as we look at our past and all the great things that we've done, we're now focused on creating new history, moving forward. And so NASA research here at Langley is really helping the world, in particular on the earth science side, to help address the causes and understanding the future of climate change. We're gathering those facts and insights that policymakers will need to use to make decisions to help set a course for a thriving future. And as Congressman Beyer pointed out, we're now helping to prepare NASA to have the first woman, the first person of color, to walk on the moon. And we're going to the moon as never before. We're putting all the tools, all the technologies in place so that we don't just go and visit, but we go there to stay. And then we use that as a launching point for further exploration in their solar system, moving on to send the first Americans on to Mars. Meanwhile, hopefully during this past year, which was kind of difficult for all of us, I hope you all had the opportunity to share in the experience of the recent successes of the Perseverance rover, the Ingenuity helicopter on Mars. And that's just a prelude of things to come as we continue to study Mars and prepare for human exploration to that planet. And then meanwhile, Langley continues to contribute in all phases of NASA's missions, including putting the technology in place to meet all these challenges in the fields of science and exploration. We're also looking to transform aviation and usher in a new era of flight for America and around the world. So with that in mind, I'm just going to show you a brief video to show how Langley moves NASA missions forward with our bold ideas, our hardware, and our people. So can you play the video, please? All right, well, I love that video. I mean, hopefully you caught some glimpses of the technology and the missions that we're working on, but really the focus of that video is the people, is the people that make it all happen. And that's why programs such as this are just so valuable. It's, really, VES is helping to develop that next generation that will help us continue to explore and discover for the benefit of all humankind. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to the next part of the program. I'd like to introduce Consortium Education Programs Manager, Rudo Kashiri. So Rudo?
Dave, thank you so much. And good morning, special guests, parents, families and friends, our master teachers, interns, and of course our scholars. This is our second year of virtual academies. We think now we have an idea how to do this right. We also, this is our second week of this Summer Academy. and our last best academy for the summer. And we also want to give special thanks to ODU Center of Distance Learning. We really could not have done without them. They really worked hard to make sure that we mirror the academy as close as possible to what it's like being in Nassau Langley. The students actually had breakout rooms. This is the main room where everybody met every morning or when we have special events. And then the groups had special rooms they went to for their teams. And special thing this year too, we also had breakout rooms inside breakout rooms. So two students could actually break away and discuss, or a group of students while they're still in their team. So that was really cool this year. So that really added to our academies, making them better. So special thanks to Christian. I know Christian is on vacation, but Scott, you're here. Thank you to you and your team. We do appreciate everything you did for us. So students started on Saturday, and some of you parents were there for the welcome. And so this is our large group that was working this summer, as you can see the video on there. So we started on Saturday, and Monday, just as we do the regular academies, the residential academies, we always have a special welcome from somebody at NASA. And this week we had David Dress. He did such a great presentation, and students had a lot of questions for him. And so for that, we really want to thank NASA for providing your people to talk to students, and they felt welcomed, and also they had a chance to see what it's like at NASA, even though they were not there. So we try to mirror as much as possible, also using the tours that we usually go to visit when we're in NASA Langley. So we had a tour of the hangar, which was led by Dr. Mike Oblent. Students really enjoyed that. We also had a tour of Clario by Dr. Dave Johnson. And Clario is Climate, Absolute Radiance, and Refractivity Observatory. And then the other tour was what we call the Capable. For those who know, the Capable was by Dr. Travis Knapp, and it's the Chemistry and Physics Atmospheric Layer Experiment. And the last tour was Contamination by Dr. Gugu Rutherford. And this was showing students how they prepare instruments for launch, and why it's important to just everything about the clearing room, why it's important to have these instruments clean. So we also had people from headquarters, and you'll be surprised, they showed up on Sunday to work with the students, sorry. So I really want to thank Dr. Elaine Cecily, and also Dr. Gugu Rutherford. I know not too many people would come on Saturday. And also we had Art Martin working with the students on the weekend. And then they also came during the week to work with students. So we do appreciate you and all the work that you did to help us, the students, get everything they needed. The next group I want to thank are the parents. We could not finish our picture, the story of our, this week without you sending us videos from your children. So we did give you a link, and a lot of you send videos, and you are going to see those videos in our final video of the week that's going to be shown at the end of our presentation. So with that, I would like for students also to thank your parents. They gave you a chance to be here. You could have been anywhere else, and they supported you as you went through. I know this week we also learned how to use those emojis. And so if y'all would, students, let's look for the clapping hands. Let's say thank you to our parents for all the support they did for us this week. And parents, I'm hoping you're seeing that. We do appreciate you and everything that you did for us this week. And this program also, we had a panel on Thursday, which was yesterday. And we hope some of you joined us. If you didn't, what we're going to do is at the end of the summer, once we finish, we still have 2 more academies to go through. When we're finished, you're going to get a link to the video so you can see the panel presentation if you missed that. And for those of you who showed up and who saw it, students did a great job. Their presentations were professional, and also they answered a lot of complex questions that were being thrown at them, and a lot of them we did not know how they were going to handle them, but they did it. They did a great job with that. They learned a lot this week. Students, you learned a lot of vocabulary this week. When you go back to school, you're going to be using this with your other schoolmates, and they'll be surprised at some of the things that you learned. And you also learned how to work on a large group starting with your goals and bringing them down to a focus point and also giving details. That is really not easy, especially when you only have 5 days really to work on the team. You also interviewed for a position that you were expected to present on Thursday. You interviewed on Saturday and expected to present on Thursday. And some of you were in positions that you never thought you'd be able to do anything about because you did not know anything about. And you might not have wanted to be in that position, but on Thursday, everybody showed up and everybody showed how well prepared you were, no matter what position you were on. So I thank you so much for that. So this week, as we talked about on Saturday, you guys are smart, and we were not planning on teaching you guys how to be smart this week, but we knew we could teach you the soft skills. And the people at NASA and other industry partners that work with us, they are looking for these skills, and that just make you a well-rounded person. And we call those our soft skills or critical skills. So one of them is communication. And we found out this week, communication is very important. We found out some teams had to keep coming back, even and as late as Thursday morning, trying to figure out how to put their stuff together and be able to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we found out communication is important. The other thing is teamwork. You could not do this project by yourself. Everybody's job was important, and you guys showed up. Responsibility was big this week. When we do the residential academy, we're usually in charge of making sure that everybody's up. But this time you're on your own, and some of you, your parents, probably were getting you up and getting you to where we are. We even had in this program, and y'all won't believe, somebody working with us from another country that was 7 hours ahead of us, and she kept up with us. So that was really good. So just to show you that we could not have given we had to give her opportunity for her as well, even though she was not in the country for this week. So it worked out, and she ended up being on there on time just like everybody else. So responsibility was good. You also found out that if you're not where you're supposed to be on time, do not your time management skills, you also were fined. So they learned how to stay within a budget, and this group did very well as far as doing that. And making critical decisions. Everything that they did this week required them to make critical decisions, and they did a great job with that as well. So I'm hoping this week opened up some opportunities for you scholars, opportunities for careers. Some of you came this week knowing what you want to do, and maybe you have changed your mind. And some of you are telling me you had no idea what you want to do. So hopefully you learned something this week that will help you kind of lead you in a direction that you might want to go. I know you also learned this week that you don't always get into what you like. You get into some positions and you learn from them. We learned from people that did not go to college straight away, but ended up going doing other things and then coming back. And I was talking about like Art Martin, his presentation was really good at showing you that sometimes you don't know what you want to do, but look what's in front of you and take advantage of that, and opportunities will open up. You learned about making connections. One thing I want you guys to do is the program that you're getting with today has a list of all the partners that work with VES, the mentors, the industry partners, the master teachers, the interns. So I will circle those and the ones that you want to get back to. Remember, you will have to do the reaching out. They're not going to reach out to you. And if somebody asks you to call me or send me an email, that means you do it, because you never know who's going to say, hey, I have something for you. Because a lot of people say that. I don't think people follow up, but you're going to be the ones that follow up. You learned a lot of friendships this week. Hopefully these are lasting friendships. A lot of the students that do our program might end up in the same colleges, or they always keep this little network of friends that they have. These are lasting friendships that you guys have. So what I would like for you students to take out of this program is everything that you learned this week. The first thing I want you to do is, I know this week was tough. Starting tomorrow, sit back, relax, reflect on this week. Make sure you start writing down as you go. Learning from Oprah Winfrey says every time you get an opportunity, you remember something, write it down. So you want to write down all of these things that you remember before you forget. You might want to use a manual that you got, make notes in that, and then you will look back later at what you learned this week. Always write things down so you remember them later. So come back and work with us. We want you to, for you to do our other programs if you have not. And we have VAS coming up, and application opens up next month. So make sure you look us up and see if you can sign up for VAS. Those of you who are going to college, quite a few of you are. Once you go to college, we always looking for interns. So reach out to us and let's see how you can help us. Now, when you graduate and you graduate out of college, you also found out that on the panel, we had some students that were, some people that were students from this and went on to college, and now they're working in the industry and they're coming back to work with students. So we want you to do the same. And I also want you to remember the words from Christine Darton. And this is what stood out to me from her presentation too. The 4 P's. So you want to write those down somewhere so you remember those if you did not get a clip of that. Perceive yourself in a career. And the second P is plan what you need to get out to get there. And then prepare. That means work on your plan. Remember, she had a plan and she figured out how to work on her plan. The biggest thing I get out of her presentation is persist. Dr. Darton found herself in a position that she never thought she would get to because she asked. Some people just sit there and don't ask anything. And she was persistent and ended up doing a lot of great things. All right, so next is I want to give a special thanks to our director, Mary Sandy, for trusting us with running these programs. She gives us the support that we need and let us that also help to run the program smoothly. For that, I really want to say thank you so much, Mary. And Priscilla, thank you so much for your support. I know I was in and out this week, and you stepped up and being there for Joyce and also all the stuff that you did mailing stuff for the students. Thank you so much for that. And Ian, thank you for stepping up, for helping up with technology. Technology sometimes is complicated and you somehow mastered how to do just that. And Ryan, I want to thank you for the video that the students are going to be looking at. And last but not least, Joyce. I would like for everybody to get the emojis again. Scholars, listen, Joyce an emoji. I know she don't like this, but we're doing it. Thank you. Thank you so much for a nice, smooth week. Also, thank you for giving me a couple of days off and running things without me there, and everything was smooth. And so thank you for doing that. Thank you for planning the events. I know some of those nights were long because things were not where you wanted them to be, and you got everybody back late nights and got things where they get everything where it's supposed to be. So with that, I guess I'm going to yield to Joyce. Follow this plan here.
Thank you, Rudo. So my part of the Academy is to talk to you about all week you learned about working as a team, and Dave Young focused on the importance of as a team. But I want to introduce you to my dream team. Without them, the success of this Academy would not have happened, and that's our master teachers and interns. So starting with Dr. Hing, will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Hing. I teach physics, AP Physics, and astronomy at Maury High School in Norfolk. I'm also an adjunct physics professor at Old Dominion University.
Evan, are you coming on?
Okay, yes, I'm here. I'm Dr. Evan Fiedler, and I teach anatomy and physiology, biology, genetics, microbiology for College of the Albemarle and other colleges in Virginia and North Carolina. And I also have published research in critical thinking strategies in the collegiate environment. And I am humbled by these amazing scholars every year. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Erica Smith Edwards. I am the master teacher for hydrosphere, and I currently teach at Potomac Senior High School. There I teach oceanography and advanced environmental management.
Hi, my name is Russell Kors. I'm the teacher for the Lithosphere team. I teach environmental science, geoscience courses, and mentor student independent research at Macedon Regional Governor School for Integrated Environmental Science and Technology. I'm also an adjunct assistant professor of geology at Lord Fairfax Community College and currently the president of the Virginia Association of Science Teachers.
Thank you all very much for all your support and all your hard work. And last but not least, the interns. These students spend a lot of hours working with your scholars individually. When there was an issue with trying to learn a new skill, they were right there to help guide the scholars throughout the week. So starting with Athena, and then just go down the list for me.
Hello, my name is Athena Butler Christodoulou, and I just finished my freshman year at Texas A&M University, and I'm studying material science and engineering.
I am Brandon K. Hedgepeth. I'm proud to be here as one of the lead interns, and I currently attend Old Dominion University as a junior studying communication media studies.
Hello, my name is Tess Himmelsbach. I had the privilege of working with the Lithosphere team this week, as well as with Launch and Orbit Public Outreach and Applied Science. I just finished my sophomore year at Barnard College of Columbia University, and my major is environmental biology with a minor in physics.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Heft. I was the intern for Team Hydrosphere this year, and I just finished my first year at the University of Oxford, and I'm studying engineering science.
Jayana, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Hello, my name is Jayana Tolliver. I am one of the other lead interns, and I am currently a junior at Old Dominion University studying cybercriminology.
Hello, I'm Afrada Johannes. I was the intern for the awesome Atmosphere team, and I am a rising third year studying environmental sciences at the University of Virginia.
And again, thank you for all your hard work and dedication working with the scholars. And as Mary said, and Rudo has talked about, we had a lot of mentors coming, and some on the weekends, some after hours after they put a full day of work in. And without these partners from NASA and academia and industry, and a lot of VESS alumni showed up, the Academy would not have been as successful as it was. So your students are going to give you, in the next few slides, are going to be a brief overview of the mission. We're not going to go through the whole 2 hours, but they're going to highlight their missions. So starting with the atmosphere, you're in charge.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Kayla Jones, and I was the project scientist for Atmosphere. Our mission was ARCOS, or the Aerosol, Radiation, and Cloud Continuous Observational Survey. My deputy project scientist was Megan Newman, and my research scientists were Lindsay and Caroline. My budget analyst was Abdullah, and my launch orbit analyst was Megan Zardeskas. Rashika was our calibration validation analyst, and Siddharth was our contamination risk analyst. Anuj and Isabella were both our applied scientists and mission outreach personnel. This week, we chose to study aerosols, and specifically how they may affect cloud formation, and in turn, how that may affect Earth's radiation budget. A bit of background for our mission is that aerosols can bind to water molecules in the atmosphere, and thus affect characteristics of clouds as they form. Denser clouds tend to reflect more incoming radiation, whereas less dense clouds tend to trap more. It is critical to understand cloud formation because of the effects this can have on the tourism, agriculture, and aviation industries. We used 2 instruments for our missions, one of which was TROPOME, or the Tropospheric Monitoring Instrument. We utilized it to determine aerosol composition, and how in cloud reflectivity. Our other instrument was VIIRS, or the Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite, which can measure elevation, location, and size of both aerosols and clouds. VIIRS can also measure cloud reflectivity, which is nice because it's such a crucial part of understanding our mission and the data we collect. If you look to the top right, you'll see our mission patch. Our mission patch is special because if you look at it, it's a satellite beaming down on a cloud. If you look at those little yellow lines, those represent radiation and how as the radiation enters Earth's atmosphere, it tends to reflect off the clouds. However, if you look very closely, you can see that some of the radiation actually makes it through the clouds and towards Earth. Another little tidbit is that we've decided to have the radiation reflect in our cosine graph as a little reference to our name. Along the sides, you can see the two logos of our partners, Northrop Grumman and the CSA, Canadian Space Agency. In the bottom right-hand corner is a breakdown of our budget. Our total mission budget was $288.6 million, which sounds like a lot, but that's actually a lot better than our original budget before we combined missions with the other groups, which was $922 million. Our total group mission budget ended up being $1.2 billion. For our budget specifically, our largest portion of the budget went to mission operations with 28%. Instruments comprised 25% of the budget, and thermal systems composed of 18% of the budget. And here's our lovely team. We like to call ourselves the A team because we just loved what we got to do this week. I would like to thank our lovely master teacher, Dr. Hing, and our lovely intern, Afrada. And I'd also like to thank all the mentors, speakers, and interns that were able to help us and talk to us and just guide us this week. We will never forget you or your emails, ever. Thank you.
My name is Pravalika, and I am the project scientist for the Biosphere team. Struan was our deputy project scientist. Jackie was our research/applied scientist. Rana was our research scientist. Isabel was our budget analyst. Austin was our launch and orbit analyst. Adith was our calibration validation analyst. Mohini was our contamination and risk analyst, and Amma was our outreach analyst. Our mission is Praesidio, which means to protect in Latin. Our mission focuses on, our mission focuses on understanding how rising ocean temperatures influence habitat shifting of phytoplankton in order to understand changes in aquatic biodiversity. Because phytoplankton are at the base of the marine food web and produce 50 to 85% of the world's oxygen, their shifting away from their native habitats can reduce the amount of oxygen present in ecosystems they move out of, which is detrimental to the health of the ecosystem because living organisms depend on oxygen for cellular respiration. As biodiversity in the native habitats of the phytoplankton decreases, industries such as the fishing and tourism industry are directly affected by this as the supply of fish decreases and ecosystems no longer appeal to tourists. In order to better understand how habitat shifting influences aquatic biodiversity, we used the Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer, or VIIRS instrument, to take measurements of sea surface temperatures, chlorophyll concentrations, which help track the movement of phytoplankton over time, and carbon biomass, which indicates the health of an ecosystem. We partnered with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, United States Geological Survey, USGS, and Northrop Grumman. Our mission patch was designed to showcase the poleward shifting of phytoplankton. As seen on our patch, Praesidio is a Latin word that means to protect, which corresponds to our mission goal of protecting marine ecosystems from changes to biodiversity. Earth and a satellite are also included to depict the global collection of data using instrumentation on board. Phytoplankton moving polewards and central marine organisms further display our focus. Red, a color usually associated with urgency, surrounds a patch as it is an urgent issue. The total budget after combining all of the team's budgets for the Biosphere team was $222 $2.6 million US. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my master teacher, Dr. Fiedler, and Athena, our intern, for being a guiding light for our team. I would also like to thank my amazing team who worked extremely hard this week. The memories we made will not be easily forgotten. I really enjoyed getting to know each and every one of you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olivia Backer. I am project scientist of Team Hydrosphere, and this week our mission was flood level observations and ocean data satellite, also known as FLOODS. I'd like to take this moment to thank my team. Our hard work did not go unnoticed. We did amazing. Carpagome as our deputy project scientist, Madeline as our research scientist, Olivia as our risk and contamination analyst, Amisha as our calibration validation scientist, Derek as our mission outreach analyst, Rohan as our launch and orbit analyst, Emily as our budget analyst, and Sarah as our applied scientist. Next slide, please. So our mission overview was to monitor changes in high tides due to rising sea levels. And our why to this was to better understand and predict where flooding occurs along U.S. coastlines. This will allow us to improve our preparedness to coastal sea level change. According to the NASA strategic plan, our mission fit into discover and develop. We will expand human knowledge over flooding and tidal changes due to sea level change and help develop responses to their impacts. The decadal survey, as for the decadal survey, our mission answers the question of how local sea level will change along coastlines around the world in the next decade to century. To the right, this was our final logo. Courtesy of Derek, he did an amazing job, and in the bottom left were our instruments. For ground truthing, we used tide stations and tide gauges, and for our satellite instruments, we used the synthetic aperture radar, also known as SAR, to measure the rate of sea level change, and visible infrared imaging radiometer suite, VIRS, to study the surface area landmass percentage. And the bottom right is our personal budget, which our largest expenditures were qualification and cleaning, but after partnering with NOAA and SpaceX, as well as working with the other spheres in order to share instruments, our budget was actually way under budget, so that was great. Next slide, please. So this is Team Hydrosphere. I'd like to take a moment to thank all the master teachers and our intern for the work that they put in, allowing us to learn and develop this week, and thank you for everyone who came and spoke. That's all. Thank you.
I am Zoe Benton, the project scientist for the Lithosphere team. Our deputy project scientist was Elizabeth Gillikin. Our research scientists were Zachary Valancourt and Sam Phillips. Our budget analyst was Alex Riaka. Our launch and orbit analyst was Natalie Shalin. Our calibration validation scientist was Ali Delap. Our contamination and risk analyst was Min Nguyen. Our applied scientists were Alex Davis and Mathilde LeBlanc, and our mission outreach scientist was Sarah Schreers. Our mission is MAGES, or Measuring Anthropogenically Induced Groundwater Extraction and Subsidence. Next slide, please. MAGES will assess ground subsidence caused by the extraction of groundwater. Subsidence occurs when land sinks down into a cavity beneath it, generally an aquifer pore space, and can cause serious damage to irrigation systems, aquifers, and building foundations. It is especially prevalent over the U.S. coastal plain, which is our primary area of study. Our mission addresses Section S4A of the 2018 Decadal Survey regarding landscape change caused by societal activity, and we will partner with the USGS and Northrop Grumman for their aligned scientific interests and technology, as well as cost savings. The data collected by MAGES will allow future city planning to avoid areas susceptible to subsidence and advocate for government policies that reduce groundwater extraction. This mission employs a new combination of polar array L-band synthetic aperture radar, or PALSAR, and S-band synthetic aperture radar, or SSAR, in a sweep SAR technique we have dubbed MAGESAR. MAGESAR will collect topographic data of the Earth's surface for the monitoring of ground subsidence. We will also be implementing a technique known as satellite laser ranging retroreflectors, where a retroreflector will be attached to the satellite and will reflect laser ranging data from the USGS ground stations below and allow them to collect gravimetry data in order for us to measure the change in groundwater levels. The pie chart you see is our proposed budget of $366.1 million after partnering with the other spheres. As you can see, the majority of our budget is allocated to instruments and over a quarter of it to mission ops. While we individually are over budget, the mission collectively with the other spheres is not. Finally, you may notice that our logo is not the typical circular shape. The inverted triangle with a bar through it is the alchemical symbol for land, a callback to both our name, Mages, and our mission of lithosphere. The top of our patch shows our satellite facing down towards the Earth, which begins at the green bar. You can see that the colorful imagery at the bottom tip represents groundwater as seen by an interferogram as it fades into the all-green topographic styling of the land. We chose the color green as our primary color for its connection to the lithosphere as well as symbolism of life, growth, and renewal. The black space represents protection and curiosity, contrasting the white words that's our safety and innovation. The blue satellite represents loyalty, trust, and intelligence. Next slide, please. Last but certainly not least, this is the full Mages team. On behalf of them, I would like to thank all of the interns, teachers, mentors, presenters, partners, and organizers that made VEST possible, especially our intern, Tess Himmelsbach, and our teacher, Russell Kors. It has been truly an incredible experience, even in a virtual setting, and we will take the lessons learned here into our futures. I could not have asked for a better team to work with on a mission proposal until midnight, and I will remember this experience for the rest of my life. Congratulations to every scholar here, and I'm sure our futures will rock, pun very much intended.
Thank you all very much. Zoe, I could not say it any better. I think our next generation of young scientists and engineers are going to do awesome things. And our last part of it is we call our VEST reflections. So Abdullah, will you please start everyone off, please?
Sure. Hello.
Thank
I
you.
would first like to thank Joyce, Udo, and VSGC as a whole for making this week possible. The VEST Summer Academy has been an amazing and constructive experience for me. From Christine Darden's iconic and inspirational presentation to the awesome tour of NASA's contamination unit, the VEST Summer Academy accommodated astonishingly to the virtual format, providing us with both intriguing and exciting showings. This past week, I acted as the budget analyst for the Atmosphere team. I was in charge of planning out how my team would use a few $100 million imaginary dollars. Additionally, I was managing a sophisticated budget, trying my absolute hardest to satisfy all our wants. From fitting in several enormous and expensive instruments to maxing out our contamination values, I tried my best to accommodate our wants. I soon found out that this was a terrible idea, as I was like $1 billion in debt. I even had to cope by sharing some amazing memes with my team. Although I was playing this imaginary role, I learned that in the actual world, difficult but necessary trade-offs will oftentimes be necessary. The trick is to maintain a nice balance. Through both the VEST course and the VEST Summer Academy, I was able to learn vital skills such as how to research and collect information on scientific topics. As I move forward this upcoming school year, as an engineering major at MIT, I'll go in more confident that I'm prepared to quickly collect and analyze information on any scientific topic handed to me. From the various skills I've gained to the many memes and laughs I shared with the Atmosphere team, participating in the VEST Summer Academy has truly been a unique and amazing experience. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel Carabo, and I'm the budget analyst for the Biosphere team. My experience with VEST far exceeded my expectations that I had when I first started the program. I met incredible mentors, interns, and teachers, and was able to work with an amazing team to create a mission. To be honest, at the beginning of this program, I didn't think I'd be able to do the presentation, as presentations make me extremely nervous. But with watching this project come together and gaining my confidence, I delivered the presentation, I would say, very well. I had so much fun this week with my team, and I'm very happy I was able to do this program. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I worked on the VEST Hydrosphere team as the applied scientist.
Before I began the VEST summer program, I was a part of their Virginia Space Coast Scholars program, in which I worked as the program manager on a scientific balloon mission. I finished that program with increased skills in cooperation, quick thinking, leadership, and public speaking. Following that experience, my accomplishments with professional interviews, presentations, and project management had inspired me to continue on to VEST. In VEST, this time around, I was familiar with the procedure and made sure that I enhanced my skills in different areas so that I could become more well-rounded. I got better at researching, collaborating, and decision-making. Now, at this point in time, after listening to presentations and working with highly proficient and motivated students, I learned two of the most important skills a young adult in STEM should know how to do: critically and innovatively think. After doing this VEST program for merely a week, I can tell you that the amount of knowledge and dedication each scholar has put into their work is extremely inspiring. Our perseverance through each struggle we faced never faltered. You would think that after hearing the terms and NASA lingo we've been using, that we've been working on a team together for months. This VEST program simply gives a small taste of what this next generation can accomplish, especially in a paramount field in which we are determined to accomplish any task and overcome any hurdle. VEST is simply the perfect match to light the fire in young and aspiring scholars, and personally, after this, I don't see that fire ever going out. I would like to thank everyone who made this such an amazing experience. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Gillikin, and I was the Deputy Project Scientist for the Lithosphere team. For me, VEST was an incredible experience. Over the course of just this week, I was able to meet a whole new group of peers, mentors, teachers, and friends. The Space Grant Academies are, as I like to say, a whirlwind experience. It kind of feels slow that first day, but before you know it, you're writing proposals, going to meetings, and waiting on that one last email to come in from the other team before your final presentation. Over the course of the week, we got to meet a bunch of different subject matter experts, in some cases including our teachers. Thank you to Russ for all the amazing geology facts. All of who taught us about both their subject of expertise, but also the paths that they took in their journey to get to where they are in their career. As someone who's been fortunate enough to participate in VSCS, VAS, and now VEST, one of the things I love about all of these programs is the wealth of technical and career knowledge that we come out with at the end of the week. Through experiences with our mentors and working in our team environment, VEST does a really great job of empowering students. At the beginning of the week, I was sort of out of practice with this type of environment. A great example is that I was really nervous to present. Soft skills, just like presenting, communication, compromising, and especially teamwork, get a really big boost in your skill throughout the week. Overall, I've stuck with the Space Grant programs because they're all a really rich environment for learning, but especially for gaining those professional development skills. And at the end, it's really satisfying and you're really proud of yourself when you can present with your group a mission that you helped to create in just a week's time. I really want to emphasize that programs like VEST are the best way to get young people interested in both what you do as adults at NASA, but also in how they can apply these sciences, how we can apply these sciences in our careers in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank y'all.
Thank you all very much. And now for the highlight, the video that shows the highlights of these Scholars Week.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody. We're so excited you're here. Congratulations on being invited to the Summer Academy.
I guess it would help to be in person, but I think that being able to see everybody's cameras and having that feel that we're all there together, it really helped to build the team spirit, I guess, and figure out how to work together. And I think that having people that also have this determined mindset have helped me grow my skills in that area of wanting to just get things done so that we don't have to do it later, and that it can like help the team as a whole.
I think the one that I found the most enjoyable was the contamination presentation by Dr. Gugu Rutherford, just because it was very interesting to see how they make sure that everything is clean. It was also interesting because this is a virtual program, so there's no physical interaction or face-to-face interaction. So still having that ability to just see what it would be like if we were able to see some of that in person was very interesting to me.
What stuck out to me about the Capable mission was the use of remote sensing, because some of the concepts that the presenter mentioned actually was used in our mission for the instruments from the other teams. So making the connection between the real world example our presenter presented for us and what we did in our teams just blew me away in terms of the experience that was offered to us.
So I enjoyed Dr. Gardner's presentation the most because we got to hear her story and her passion for her career, and it was really inspiring because she was really motivational when she talked about her struggles throughout her journey and how she stepped up in her career, and she asked for a job that other people didn't have the opportunity to have, and she stepped out of her comfort zone to get there.
I believe that students should participate in programs like these because it just encourages you to take a step out of your comfort zone. Because again, by definition, I had no idea what was expected in this academy, but yet we've met with so many subject matter experts. We've applied what we used both in the consortium classes and our schoolwork to become something greater than the sum of its parts.
The biggest things you often have to do in something is to keep trying. You have to persist. You have to keep working at what you want. Don't quit.
Wow, great job, scholars. And what a great job on your mission, putting your mission together and all your presentations. And it's certainly really heartwarming for me and my team to hear how much this program has impacted you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Atif Carney, Virginia's Secretary of Education. Atif is a supporter of our programs, and it's just been wonderful to work with him in his role. he was instrumental in securing funding to allow us to sustain the VEST program in the state's budget. It really was at risk and would not have happened this summer if the state had not stepped up to help us with it. So I'm really pleased that he could be here to offer congratulatory remarks to our scholars.
Well, good morning, Mary, and good morning all of our scholars. It's really great to be here with you all this morning. Thank you for Virginia Space Grant Consortium and NASA Langley Research Center for everything you do for our scholars. Just celebrating the Virginia Earth System science scholars at this closing ceremony. It's amazing to see all of our scholars from across the Commonwealth, from all different schools. One of them I do recognize, Amma, who was a student at Bevel Middle when I was a teacher back there. She's at high school now, but it's great to see her as well. Over the last couple of days, as we've been watching news stories about billionaires going into space, like Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos, and I know Elon Musk is planning something with an all-civilian space travel trip. I know a lot of our young scholars are very excited as I go and meet with folks in summer camps for schools and so forth. Folks are really excited about these innovative things. We really value STEM education here in the Commonwealth. Governor Northam, who's really focused on STEM education, established a commission which charged the commission to create a unified vision and adopt shared goals to strategically inform how we prepare students for STEM jobs in the future. After the commission sunsetted, we championed a legislation to codify STEM education advisory board, which will seek to continue to work and continue to unify our STEM efforts throughout the Commonwealth to ensure all students have equitable access to high quality STEM education. We're very excited that we were able to invest a lot of money and resources like in programs like this as well. We've invested over $1 billion just alone in the next decade to focus on computer science education. We're the only state that has implemented computer science standards in our K through 12 schools. So we're very excited about that. And there's a collective effort of all of our industries, but especially in education, which is our strongest sector in Virginia that makes Virginia the best place to do business. And we really value that and we want to sustain that for years to come and generations to come. One of the things I wanted to share with you is I travel schools. I was at a summer school earlier this week in Winchester, and I heard laughing from a classroom. It was a first grade classroom. Bananas. So walked in and saw that all of our young people were working with their teachers and taking bananas and toothpicks and creating these structures to see who can have the most stable and highest and tallest structures. And that was a great STEM activity. We have so many examples across the Commonwealth from early years through middle years to high school years and to our higher education where a lot of creative things are happening and our educators are working with their scholars across the education continuum to really encourage them. Our plan in Virginia, our philosophy is very simple. We want our young scholars to look around their community and see how they can make a better society and improve their community, and then come together and collaborate, work in a team, really communicate their ideas, use their critical thinkings to figure out the solutions and use their creativity to really enhance those solutions and really help their communities. And you all are doing this. This is a great gem of a program that's been around for several years, and that's why we're supportive of this. And I was just so excited to see the scholars share what their missions were in this program, and also the reflections you all offered. This is really, really amazing. I'm so excited for you all and celebrating you all here today, and I'm even more excited on what you will do in the future to continue to make our world a better place. So again, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this closing ceremony today. And Mary, I want to kick it back to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Secretary Carney. And we also have remarks from Delegate Glenn Davis, who represents Virginia's 84th district in the Virginia House of Delegates. Delegate Davis has also been very supportive of our VSGC programs, and he was a champion in the General Assembly for working to sustain the VEST program through the state budget. He often attends our programs and is a frequent speaker and engages with our scholars. Delegate Davis?
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate the Virginia Space Grant Consortium and NASA continuing this amazing program. And to the participants, congratulations. This obviously was another trying year, and you just didn't learn about our changing dynamics out there and sea level rise and how to solve some of the generational challenges, but truly, how to operate a first-class, tight-knit team in a virtual remote environment. We all know that so much now is being done in business and in government to bring people together virtually, to bring the experts in different fields. But how do you do that in a manner that allows you to have the same success, to have the same tightness of teamwork as you could if you put them all around the same table? And what y'all did this year was exactly that. And that's probably as much of a success as anything else that y'all accomplished. I always love attending this, not just to congratulate the participants, but to learn a lot myself. It seems that every time every year that I come onto this, I learn more and more about some of the unique things that are challenges that are being undertaken that we have to understand about our Earth or that next generation, those new generational challenges. Times have changed quite a bit. When I was in school, we learned about how the moon phases impacted our tides. But so much more now we understand is impacted through our atmosphere. And it's going to require your generation to understand those impacts on different parts of our life and different parts of society and continue moving forward for the benefit of our communities. So that's why it's so exciting to see this going on, because I know a lot of us live in a silo and we're really worried about that next generation, but it's things like this that you look at and you say, that next generation is going to be completely fine. And honestly, they're going to be a lot better off than we are. So thank you so much for what you're doing, for all the success you have, and to the coaches and mentors and interns. Thank you so much for everything you do to allow this program to continue and to continue to build that next generation of scientists that can make our state and our country and our Earth a much better place for people to live. So thank you again, congratulations, and thank you for letting me be a part of this ceremony again.
Thank you, Delegate Davis. I'll now turn it over to Dave Young for some closing remarks for our scholars.
Thanks again, Mary. And hey, thanks again to Congresswoman Wexton, Congressman Beyer, Delegate Davis, and Secretary Carney for those inspiring and really enthusiastic remarks to our scholars. I mean, as you can see, this program and you, the scholars, have tremendous support from our elected officials, our industry partners, our university partners. And why? Well, because you're the future. And based on what I've seen here today, the future looks really bright. I mean, what great presentations. I mean, you not only see that you came in a week, grasped very difficult, complex science, but then just the extraordinary level of creativity in your solutions and your logos and your naming. It's fantastic to see. So congratulations. I can tell it was a challenging week, but hopefully it was a rewarding one. I would like to point out that in the virtual work that you did this week, it actually very much mirrors what we've been doing at Langley and at NASA to keep our missions moving forward. So it may have been challenging, but it was actually very much a real world experience. So anyway, but you were up to the challenge, and I hope everyone here can see that how complex and how thorough the work was by these scholars. And I hope that all of you also really come to understand and witness the value of diverse perspectives, experience, and backgrounds, and the value of partnering in everything we do. I mean, here at NASA, we know that diversity and inclusion fuels innovation, and we depend on fresh thinking that can only come from a team that's multifaceted like this. And I heard a few of those themes. I always love listening to the reflections part from the scholars. And some of the themes that I heard really tie into that message. I mean, I heard about career choice. Rudo talked about initially about how this program can help scholars with their career choices. And I heard that from Elizabeth, where you heard from different SMEs about their life journey to help you make decisions about where you want to go with your careers and how you want to make an impact. And I heard a lot about soft skills. I mean, both Elizabeth and Isabel mentioned being nervous about public speaking. I'll tell you, at your age, I could not do what you just did. I was terrified of public speaking. It was only through practice and opportunities like this, to really, because it's so key that it's really helped me go forward, and hopefully it helped you too. And Abdullah talked about the other skills about, really tough decision making, and being the budget person is always a hard job, Abdullah, having to tell people you can't have everything you want. But, really the idea of bringing people together and doing the research and talking through that teamwork, that's how you get to the end goal. And I think Sarah really summed it all up. She also talked about the keys of decision making, the need for critical thinking from all members of the team and pulling that together. And that leads to the dedication of a team to meet those challenges and to make that big impact. So your words really resonated with me, and I want you all to take that into your hearts as you go forward and really think about what you've learned about your career choice, about what you want to do. Think about the impact that you can make and the why. But remember those soft skills and the teaming that you've learned this week, and that's the how. Never forget that piece, because that's crucial for us to be able to work together to achieve great things. And so that's how you can really help pave the way for a real better tomorrow for everyone. So once again, congratulations, and thank you so much for participating. Mary?
Thank you, Dave, for your inspiring words. Our scholars will be returning to their virtual team rooms so they can take leave of each other. Scholars, I know you will all be making a difference in our world as you move into your chosen careers. We look forward to staying in touch with all of you. And parents, you can all be very proud. This concludes our program. Thank you.